Hi, I'm Leah. You know, you can search the AutoChannel.com's new car buyer's guide to quickly and easily find specs, prices, multi-car comparison, and the latest news about every new passenger car and truck sold in North America. The AutoChannel.com, there's nothing else like it.
Our primary objectives for being in the U.S. here is trying to develop a vehicle so that it meets the North American customers' desires, their wants and needs.
We understand the requirements for North American customers. We understand the environment, the culture, and what the consumer needs are, and that's our role.
We actually develop the clinics ourselves. We organize the clinics from an engineering standpoint. Our engineers actually go out to the clinics. Our engineers interview the customers. They participate in the vehicle drives.
I call it 1 degree of separation.
No other company does something like that, where the engineer is able to actually talk to the end user.
I think the unfiltered response is coming directly to the engineer or directly to the person making the changes in the vehicle has a huge impact.
There's a lot of things that I personally, or I as a designer, think that should be changed, but when I get out there and talk to the customer and there's either an emotional connection for them or it's just something I never really thought about.
It's one of those things where you sometimes think you know your customers, and the fact is you don't know them well enough, and that's one thing that I have to say we did exceedingly well. We really did try to, and I think we really did learn a lot about our customers.
Whether our data supports it or not, our customers' perception is our reality.
So we were able to go back, make changes and say, hey, we thought this, the customer really wants this, so let's modify our strategy, modify our thinking, and shift more towards what they want.
I think the cool factor is you've been a part of the entire process, and you are trying to execute based on what you know firsthand.
There is not necessarily a set way of doing things for engineering here at Hatchie, because we have to, in many cases, develop the processes or procedures for the way we will test vehicles or develop vehicles.
Here you have to have a wide coverage of experience and skill traits that can help you do a lot more different things than in other car manufacturers.
The approach and the philosophy is very hands-on, and we did the teardowns ourselves, we did the benchmarking ourselves, we did the vehicle evaluations ourselves, we participated and sat with the customers ourselves. We took the time to understand the original model. We had an in-depth knowledge of what the current Sonata was and where we needed to take the new Sonata.
We're very happy with the new Sonata. We think the customers will find it more fun to drive. It'll still offer all the quality and value, but with increased performance, improved fuel economy.
The interior trim, the comfort, the ergonomics, human factors of the new Sonata are competitive with any vehicle in its segment in the world.
And it'll be just a little more exciting car to drive.
When you talk about craftsmanship and attention to detail, one of the biggest concerns that our customers had with the previous Sonata was the center stack area, that they said it was very busy, things weren't harmonious, you had a lot of different shapes, a lot of different lines. They just weren't sure what our intentions were, and when when you're designing something from an engineering execution, you don't want to leave any doubt. So we paid a lot of attention to that.
I think it was a real good idea to take the vehicle and talk to actual customers, because sometimes they can tell you, oh, fuel economy is my main concern, or reliability. But then once you get them sitting in the vehicle, they start pointing out, I would never buy this, or this looks really strange, I would never have this in my car. And sometimes it comes down to these little details.
Lines, components, systems, they all line up. You see these lines flow through, this line flows through. You have consistent shapes and sizes.
It definitely helps your customer image of your interior, because rather than having, let's say, a bunch of square buttons in this, buttons that you'd use in every vehicle in your line, we're allowing these custom shapes which show that these switches were developed specifically for this vehicle and not just pulled out of an economy car or a minivan and used across your whole line. So it shows a lot more specialization, and that there's kind of more of a personal touch
What's so important about it is, again, developing the confidence that, we are paying attention to the detail and not just what's on the surface, but what's behind what you see.
One of the key things we learned from the previous Sonata was that people felt the actual cushion length of the seat was a little short. Now what we did on the new version, the new seat, was just change that angle by about 2 degrees. And after that, we made some samples up, tested it with some actual consumers, ran it through some surveys, and that was enough of a change that that cushion length feeling basically went away. They thought it was fine, it was much better.
The purpose of this lab is to understand the American market and to provide that know-how and the lifestyle of Americans to help improve our product. On this cart are drink-related items, focus on cup holders and bottle storage. And what we do with this set of drinks, we create a database, 3D models, and we refresh it yearly. So when they're designing an interior for American market segment, they can use these models to do checks that the consumer needs met.
Command, please.
One of the key aspects to designing a quality navigation system is making it very easy to use or intuitive. So we did a lot to make the voice recognition system easy to use and to allow you to use help commands and be very fluid. In addition, we have multiple commands that do one thing, so that if you say it one way, I can say it another way, and the system it'll still work correctly. And if it doesn't fully understand it, it says, well, I'm not sure, so I'm going to give you a list. Choose the list. And then when you choose that item, if it's farther down on the list, it actually gives itself what we call a weighted average. So the next time you say it, it actually gets better, and it'll recognize it quicker. And we have a speaker adaptation where you read phrases, and it'll give it even a better recognition rate. We are one of the first OEMs to use flash-based memory to store the map data, which offers us more robustness in addition to having no moving parts like a hard drive, so it'll last longer. We don't specifically rely on the satellites, the GPS satellites. We have a gyro that's built into the radio that calculates your angle. In addition, they use a vehicle speed pulse, the same signal that your speedometer uses. So in areas where there's tall buildings or tunnels, our system works.
We had a very aggressive research plan that we developed. That research really did lay the foundation in almost every key way in what you see here. People saw the vehicle on the road and decided they needed to find out more about the vehicle based on how it looked. And some of the key issues with how that car looked, and it influenced in that respect what we did with this vehicle, related to things such as, for example, decorative trim on the exterior, very sophisticated, refined form development in the exterior as well, color and trim, materials, technologies and features.
It's the entire development process, from understanding the vehicle, to understanding the customer, to understanding the environment, understanding how we need to execute from an engineering point of view to meet all those aspects. That's the focus, and that's the objective from an engineering perspective. The vehicle, the customer, the whole buying cycle, the whole ownership cycle, and that's what we execute.
Some things that American customers want and desire may be different than what was originally developed with the vehicle overseas. And so part of our job was to really try and fine-tune the vehicle so that it met the American customers' wants and desires. And that meant, from a drivability standpoint, responsiveness standpoint, trying to give it the character that the American customers want, so that they're buying our product not just because it offers excellent value and superior quality, but it's a fun car to drive. It does what the customer wants it to do. And
our involvement on the Sonata program was very early on, developing some of the engine hardware and making improvements on that for both fuel economy and performance. And once that's moved into a vehicle test phase, we'll go through developing the engine and verifying it from a durability standpoint.
In the past, the media has frequently commented about Hyundai's being very well matched as far as quality and value. but not always fun to drive. And we focused on the fun to drive part.
People want more response out of our products, so they want the throttle pedal to feel more connected to the overall vehicle, so they feel like when they step on the throttle pedal, they want the vehicle to respond more quickly. So one of the things we did with the Sonata is to change the shift quality tuning.
So we looked at it and we found that by changing our valve design from this design to this one, we could get a significant improvement in our downshift time, and that's now what's going into production in the new Sonata.
We want customers, when they buy the car based on a certain window sticker, that when they drive the car and own it, they'll say, yes, I'm happy with the fuel economy because I'm getting what I expected to get. So we've done a lot of real-world driving pattern studies. We've talked to customers. We've gone in cars with customers to see how they drive. Now we're able to find aspects of the vehicle tuning that will allow us to tune the car and calibrate the car so that customers actually achieve what the window sticker tells them they should expect.
End result is higher quality product, hopefully cost savings, because if we use it as a system, we can reduce costs in other areas, and better drivability. I mean, those are the three things we really strive for. The last one, of course, the fourth, the big one, is fuel economy, and that's, again, when you have the entire package working well together.
Safety, I think, is part of the total environmental protection type of attitude at Hyundai. We are worried about the environment. That includes the personal well-being of the drivers, the customers. You know, we also talk about fuel emissions and all of those other responsibilities that we have to the environment. Well, reducing the injuries in the field is part of that mix. And so Hyundai takes that very seriously.
I want a person to buy a Hyundai not because it offers a great value or superior quality, which it does. I want them to buy the car because it's fun to drive, because it excites them. It's the car they want to drive. And so I want to build that enthusiasm with the customer base. And so that's one thing that I think we can do a better job over here in the U.S., because we can understand the customer base and try and develop that third element. So if we have the superior value, the excellent quality, and some excitement and fun to drive features and characteristics, then I think we'll have a killer combination.
Hey, cool video, huh? Now's a good time to search the autochannel.com's buyer's guides to quickly and easily find the most in-depth news, specs, prices, rebates, crash ratings, and recalls for every brand of vehicle sold in North America. The autochannel.com, there's nothing else like it.